My confession for the day. If Konami ever releases some sort of Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force collection, you guys won't hear from me for weeks. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank. I'm that you guys are having a great day. And in today's video, I'd like to sit back in my very squeaky chair, relax, and have a little conversation with all of you guys about, well, originally this was going to be a video talking about Star Wars. Actually, if I confess, I had recently done a video talking about Lorcana and their collector booster box news, and I felt it would only be right to also do a follow-up video for Star Wars. I like to try and release videos for both games around the same time. I feel like they are kind of sister games in my opinion. But honestly, there's not a whole lot to report in the world of Star Wars. So instead, in today's video, I'm going to be chatting about the concept of collectability versus playability. Or more accurately, collectability versus casual fans. High-end items versus casual experiences. Because I should say, the moment I said collectability versus playability, some of you guys were probably instantly jumping to thinking about like the One Piece card game or Pokemon or even Magic the Gathering. That has collector boosters after all. But honestly, this is not a TCG exclusive concept, the idea of balancing out your high-end whales versus your more casual, if more entrenched fans, if potentially more entrenched fans. There's definitely whales that are super entrenched. I should definitely make that clear before someone screams down my throat. But the idea that there should be a balance, a nice medium between high-end and exclusive premium items versus the average box or something that's not just exclusive to card games. It's something we also see in the world of video games and toys and all sorts of other collectibles. Cars, like there's premium cars, there's premium watches. There's people out there who pay a pretty penny for watches. They call a $10,000 watch entry level. You guys know who you are. But yeah, this is prevalent in, like I said, video games, toys, and card games. Yeah. And it's definitely true that for a lot of companies out there, making high-end collectible items for the whales can be very appealing because, well, these items are appealing to the whales, the big fish, the big money, who are all too happy to pay a nice premium for something that's a bit more exclusive and has a bit more prestige behind it. But it needs to be said, especially when the hype train is going and everybody's looking to make a bit of money in your ecosystem, it's very easy for a lot of things to get caught up. And even regular items like regular booster boxes for Pokemon or One Piece can get swept up by individuals very willing to pay a premium, making the item itself unavailable to the casual fans. Now, that's not to say that the game itself becomes unavailable to casual people. I have had a conversation very recently with a buddy over on Discord where I was explaining that, yeah, Pokemon sealed product is very expensive right now. It's quite difficult to get a hold of anything for a reasonable price, but Pokemon as a game is still very accessible with like the top meta deck, the Dragapult deck, I think, being like under $50 or $60 for like the dominant deck in the metagame. Now, let me tell you, as a Yu-Gi-Oh fan who played way back in the day, if you told me that like one of the best decks in the current meta was under $100, I would be flabbergasted. So this is not a accessibility thing so much as a perception thing, because there's definitely people who have been avoiding playing Pokemon physically because they think, oh, I can't get the boxes, how am I ever going to afford a deck? Instead, this is not a conversation for accessibility so much as it is an argument for longevity. You see, appealing to collectors and whales and all that jazz is fine if you have a special premium product that you put out alongside your regular releases, and that product is, you only make so many of them, it's rarer, it's shinier, it's fancier, whatever the reason is, whether it be some kind of fancy box for your card game or some special premium toy for your new He-Man line or new Transformers line, or a special toy that you can only find on HasLabs, whatever it is, appealing to the high-end whales is fine, but it should not come at the expense of the longevity of your brand, because regular everyday fans still need something for them. You can't just um, build an IP, build a franchise, build a property on the top 1% spenders, because sure, it's definitely true that those big spenders are bringing in a lot of money, but those individual smaller casual guys, they also add up to quite a lot of money. You got one dude over here spending $1,000 a month, and you also have like 10,000 guys over here spending like $1 a month. I know that that's not a one-to-one example, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. The small guys add up, and they do count for a significant amount of revenue. And when you kind of shun them and you make it so that the cool, shiny, special things can only be found in the collector's edition, and the affordable one has nothing useful anyway, or you make it so that the high-end cards that you need to play for your deck are only available in a specific kind of booster box that costs just a bit more. You want the better chance of pulling that card, it's just a bit more expensive. Well, you start to discourage people. If there's this awesome card that people want 3 copies of to play in their deck, and they can only get it through a collector booster box, well, or I shouldn't say they can only get it through a collector booster box, they are more likely to pull it in a collector booster box. That's what I was going for. Well, they get a bit discouraged by that. With good reason. But this is not just about the cards. This is about appealing to collectors over your casual fans. And this is something that every industry struggles with. DC and Marvel Comics learned this the hard way in the 90s. There was this huge, big Marvel and DC comic craze where everyone was trying to get a hold of #1 issues and buying up all the key issues and all the variants and stuff, because, well, comics were worth their weight in gold, apparently, because a bunch of old comic books aged really well. DC and Marvel really leaned hard into it. They made a bunch of new #1 issues, a bunch of new restarts to their line, and variant covers and all that jazz, a bunch of gimmick stuff, gold comic covers, for instance. I still fondly remember those. But the fact of the matter is, while people did show up and buy the #1s because those were the hit items, those were the collectibles, those are going to go up, the sad truth is the longevity of these comics was in jeopardy from day one, because while people showed up and bought issue #1, not a whole lot of people showed up for issue #2 or 3 or 4. In fact, there was a lot of damage done to DC and Marvel because of this, where Marvel almost went bankrupt. If it weren't for like Iron Man, I think Marvel would have been belly up, basically. Crazy to think about, honestly, how one film saved them from the after effects of the disastrous choice to really appeal to these investor types, the collector types, the crazy whales. And yeah, this hasn't gone away. This hasn't comics haven't stopped being collectible. After all, new issue 1s are still coming out for new series all the time, and people still buy them. However, comic publishers, I should say, have really seemed to learn their lesson, as they go out of the way to try and make stories that people will come back for more of. And I say try to like make good stories, because they are trying. I know that there's a meme that like Marvel especially is deliberately trying to make bad stories, but they're trying to appeal to an audience that may or may not exist. Maybe it's misguided, but the point is, they are trying their best. And for what it's worth, some of the stuff they put out is really good. And side tangent to my side tangent, part of why the new Absolute line of comics is doing so well is, yes, there is some genuine feverish demand for those issue 1s. I think the Absolute Wonder Woman issue 1 is like $30 now. Crazy stuff. It came out like a year ago, less than a year ago. Like, there is definite value there, but people are also coming back for the news stories, because for the most part, people seem to really be enjoying that. And that's the crux here. You have to have genuine desire, genuine appeal from your casual audience for more stuff, for any of that collectible crap you put out to mean anything. You can have the rarest item ever for a given property, and if the property itself doesn't have a core audience, a nice casual set of fans who will give meaning to that collectability, then you're up shit's creek without a paddle, basically. Let me give you a good example, and I pulled this aside just for today. This is the Dead Island 2 unreleased, whatever, special collector's edition. I'm not entirely sure about the story of this one, but I do know about Dead Island 2. It is a very forgettable game. It's a zombie game. I played it for 15 minutes. It was very boring. And from what I understand, boring is the general consensus, with a lot of people calling it downright forgettable. And honestly, if it weren't for this stupid thing sitting in the corner of my garage, I would forget about it entirely. Now, what is this? Well, this is some super mega rare collector's edition that was not officially released. You can only buy this because apparently some were leaked online, and now they pop up on eBay from time to time. And you know what? That's a crazy good story, and I bet there's some kind of video game historian out there who could give you guys more details. I'm sure I'm just spitballing here, but check it out. You can probably find it on YouTube if you look hard enough. But the crazy thing is, this is apparently like it's a unreleased super rare collector's thing, and I think I paid $16 for it or something, maybe 18 bucks. The reason is sure, it's collectible, it's rare, it's crazy, it's got a fun story behind it, but the game itself, the thing that's supposed to give it meaning, doesn't have that meaning. No one, from what I understand, not a whole lot of people care too much about Dead Island 2. And that's something that a lot of publishers tend to forget, and a lot of the investor types tend to forget, because there's a lot of people out there in the world of any collectibles finance who will unironically tell you to your face that rarity is the key thing you should look for when deciding what to invest in or speculate on in the world of collectibles. Rarity and age. It has to be rare and hard to find and good. And that's all well and true to a point. There definitely is some validity to rarer being better. But that rarity has to also be paired with a genuine interest in the core item itself. A rare comic book is meaningless if there are no fans of that comic book. A rare video game is meaningless. A rare video game collectible is meaningless if there's no one who cares about that game. Same thing with cards. You know, there are plenty of rare cards for dead card games that are very hard to find, you know, but those card games don't have fans. There are very rare, super hard to find cards that would probably be way more expensive if their respective games had anything that resembled a fan base. Looking at you, battle cards. I like to pick on battle cards from time to time. I should. It's got some genuinely rare cards in it. Super hard to find, but no one plays it for obvious reasons, I think. But what I'm trying to get to in this video is there are people out there who will try to tell you that rarity and collectability are the best things to go for, but in reality, what you should be going for is things that you know have an audience. The things that you know have some demand, an actual interest behind it. Because, again, rarity is not good enough. Collectability is not good enough. Items need demand. A core audience enjoying the product creates that demand. Stores and businesses and publishers can forget that, but at the end of the day, supply and demand has two words, not one. Supply matters, absolutely, but demand is as important. And that's all I got for you kiddos today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe. Algorithm Jag? No, hang on. Jank, that's the one. Algorithm Jank. What the hell is Jag? I don't know. My brain's fried. I'm old. Talk to you guys later. Ciao.